Well, welcome to Moist Nougat. I am the kid.
And I'm Dan Lee.
The topic we chose this week, it's a little long-winded. I always try to keep them super short, but I couldn't with this one.
Right.
Things in history we would have liked to have been a part of.
Right.
I had to do that in a cadence, otherwise I would have tripped over it.
Yeah, that's a tough sentence.
But yeah, and this was actually kind of a difficult one for me
Okay.
because so some of mine are a little vague.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll let you start it out.
Well, what really struck me was that I really didn't want to go back very far. I mean, I went back far enough, but I didn't want to go back to the Roman times, things like that.
Yeah.
Because I look at that period in man, womankind, and I'm like, these people were just brutal.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know? And
They were.
I mean,
What is the word?
killers.
Well, yeah, but just yeah, brutal. But there's a word like brutal, and I can't think of it.
Yeah, I mean, every one of them. It didn't matter what country they were from, or they were out to like kill all the other guys.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like, wow, this warring world back then. So I went with my first choice was to be sailing with Columbus out of Spain. You know, the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria.
Yeah.
So heading to the west, and sights unseen and unknown.
Yeah.
Not to say that somebody didn't make it over here before they did. They didn't leave any markers or anything, I guess, to really say, you know, we didn't pound their name in stone on some stone wall.
Right.
So I guess just being aboard and on that mission, which was, I'm sure it was, they had to have some scary moments. You couldn't enter into the unknown.
Oh, right. Well, and at that point in time, there was a lot of people that believed the road was flat. So were they just going to go off the edge at some point?
Exactly. So it's just amazing that, and I don't even think they hit the mainland, did they? I think the word is they caught one of the islands.
Yeah,
off the
they
coast.
had a bunch of different places.
Yeah. So
I'm not a boat person, so I wouldn't have wanted it, especially
yeah,
in one of those boats.
you know those things were really tiny.
Yeah, a lot smaller than you think they were.
Oh, they were. Yeah, it's just like putting up a picture of the Titanic. You think, you know, you see the movie the Titanic. That's a huge ship.
One of those boats might have been as size of a tugboat.
Oh yeah,
compared
I mean
to the Titanic.
Really, I mean the Titanic is dwarfed by any cruise ship today.
Yeah.
Absolutely dwarfed.
Oh yeah.
Dwarfed by them.
But back then it was
Yeah,
huge.
That was yes. So interesting to be a part of something that you're going off completely into the unknown.
Yeah, and I have a few on my list that are like that, where like I get it. There's no amenities compared to what we have now.
Yeah.
But I still would have liked to have seen how things were for real, you know.
Oh yeah.
But my first one is a little more. January 25th, 1998, San Diego, California. Super Bowl 32.
Oh yeah.
I'd love to have been like on the sidelines.
Right.
When the Broncos won their first Super Bowl.
Oh gosh.
Just
absolutely.
I mean, I was in a living room.
That's right.
And I was super excited, but
yeah,
to be on the sidelines and just to be around that would have been
oh yeah,
so awesome. You know?
And yeah, and as soon as they won and you took in enough of the TV, it was outside with the champagne bottle.
Yeah, I still
popping it on the back porch.
I still have the jersey and like an idiot, I never washed it, and so it's all stained from the champagne.
Oh, no kidding.
Which is kind of actually cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because I mean I have washed it since, but those stains were in it.
Right.
You know, because when Elway retired, I retired all my Elway jerseys.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, you know, I got these jerseys, and it's stupid to not wear them for the. You know, I always just wore the the jerseys on game day, anyways. I never wore them around out and stuff usually.
Right.
Off topic a little bit, but I was watching a TikTok video the other day, and somebody was like, You know, when you guys didn't have the internet, how did you get concert tickets? We went and bought them.
We did.
We went and you either went to the venue and stood in line, or
Yeah.
you went to a place called Ticketron at the mall or
Right.
wherever. That's where we always
Yeah.
got them. There was a Ticketron
Yeah.
place at the mall. You went, you bought your tickets.
And it was actually always in a great place. It was at a record store.
Right.
Because when I worked at Camelot Music, I
Sold concert tickets.
I sold tickets, and I had a layout of all the venues.
Right.
So if it was a show I wanted to go to, and the guy
You
just
could
left,
pick your seats.
just had I got the tickets right in front of me. I get out the map. I'm like, well, am I going with anybody? No, I'm probably going by myself. And so I just find like the best spot, the Auditorium Theater on Main Street in Rochester. I always sat up in the loge. It was the very, very front row, the first 2 or 3 rows in the balcony.
Right.
And I loved that.
Yeah.
I had so many great memories of concerts just sitting right there in the front row of the loge.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
I never sat in a spot like that.
Yeah.
Usually it was most of the concerts I went to were general admission.
Yeah.
And you know, it was just down on the floor at the War Memorial
Right.
or Binghamton, or
Yeah.
you were just down on the floor. Now that you could go up and sit in the seats, but
Yeah.
you didn't buy a ticket that said, "Oh, seat number 181."
Right. Right.
You know, it was general admission.
Yeah. Just like a first come, first serve, and get in there early if you can.
Yeah, yeah. The next one on my list is, and now I probably wouldn't want to do this now, but in my 20s, I would have definitely been up for it. August 15th through 18th, 1969, Bethel, New York. Woodstock.
Oh, Woodstock. I was going to say Bethel.
It was actually in Bethel, New York. but,
Yeah. Right. Right.
Was on I forget the guy's name, but it was on his farm.
Max. I'm a farmer. And everybody cheers.
Yeah.
Max. Okay. I'm not coming up with
But
it.
yeah, they actually had it all set up for one place, and then they decided that we don't want that here, and he had all this land and said, do it here.
Yeah.
So
Cool guy.
I mean, you know, the psychedelics and all that stuff, not really my thing, but to see some of those bands
Oh, yeah.
and you know, different time. I'm sure there was some shit that went down, but you know, they redid Woodstock. Forget what year it was.
That was a mess.
And yeah, it was a complete mess, and they ended up burning shit down at the end of it and everything else.
At the old air base in Rome, New York.
Yeah, yeah. What else you got on your list?
So, I have the Kennedy assassination.
You know?
Now, a terrible thing to see, but man, I would know where to look. I'd like to go back in time.
That's the thing.
I'd like to go back in time.
Be looking at that grassy knoll for sure.
Be looking at the grassy knoll. It's like, what's for real here? And I mean,
I'd be sitting on the grassy knoll.
Exactly. I would position, and if somebody told me to leave, you know, you can't sit there, then, you know, I would be like, okay, these might be my guys right here.
Yeah.
Right. It would be cool. Go back in time. You see this one guy pull up a rifle, and and run and tackle him from behind.
Yeah.
Change history.
Change history. God, can you imagine? I mean, that's a major change in history.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd probably end up dead because they're probably, you know.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not a conspiracy theory guy. I do. There's a conspiracy there.
Oh yeah.
I sure 100% think that there was mafia, government, and everything else was involved in that.
Yeah.
And I don't want to totally get into the conspiracy thing, but
yeah,
I just, like you said, I wouldn't want to go back to actually see him get shot. I'd want to go back to check the grassy knoll out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know?
I think my first stop would be to run up to the 8th floor of the book depository and, you know, knock Oswald for a loop, steal his gun,
yeah,
and then head straight for the grassy knoll.
I don't know if you want to be running around with a gun.
No.
Hey,
you'd get shot for sure. There's probably so many guys there that were
Secret Service.
Secret Service, yeah.
But yeah, that's the one and only conspiracy I really, I
Yeah.
don't, the 9/11 conspiracy, the moon landing conspiracy. I think it's just some people just want to think everything's a hoax, everything's fake.
Yeah.
Moving along,
Yeah, we're not picking sides here.
what do you got? Where's the next place you wanted to go?
Okay. So, I would want to be a member of Sir Malcolm Campbell's team. Do you know who he was?
No.
He was one of those guys. He was a wealthy Englishman, kind of an aristocrat.
So a polo team.
Nope. He was after the land speed records and the speed records on the water.
Okay.
So, and his son got into that too. There's film clips of him and, getting together with his son, and he had just set a record or something. And his son's just a young guy asking him questions. His son eventually got into it and unfortunately died doing it,
Yeah.
going after, in a high-powered boat on the water and had a big crash.
Yeah, I think that's more dangerous than like
Yeah.
the salt flats.
And that, oh yeah. I
You
mean,
know,
the salt
just-
flats, at least if you crash, you're going to slide forever.
Well, yeah, and the salt flats are truly flat. Water's never
Right.
truly flat.
No,
No,
it'll trip you up and send you
and
flying.
they hydroplane so easy, those
Oh, yeah.
boats.
And then water becomes just as hard as stone.
Oh, yeah.
At that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sir Malcolm Campbell, for years and years, he would go to. And he was wealthy enough, and it was all on him. It was all his expense. But he would have the cars built, and then he'd bring them over on a ship and unload. And he's at Daytona on the beach. Daytona Beach, Ormond Beach,
Right.
running up that way and then back. And then eventually set a big record out on the salt flats. But at one point, he came through my town. He was on Canandaigua Lake,
Oh, yeah.
and I was there to witness it.
So you're almost part of his team.
Yeah. I mean,
I do remember going down to Canandaigua Lake, and they had hydroplane races down there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was a blast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved all that
Right
stuff
down
on
there,
the water.
basically right out in front of Kershaw Park.
Yeah, right in front of Kershaw.
I remember going down
Yeah.
there as a kid and watching.
that
I
was
mean, these
cool.
weren't, I don't think it was big time, but
No, but yeah, people came, from all over to get in it,
yeah.
to get in the races. It was their thing. But I remember the morning because I was probably really ornery. I was 4 years old. It was 1956, and we went to a doctor.
You just got flung out of a car.
Yeah, from last week's episode. And yeah, I remember going there, and it was real foggy, and then the fog lifted, and we were up on a hillside at a home that overlooked the lake,
Yeah.
and we watched. I watched the boat go flying up the lake, making all kinds of noise, and because it was always like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? You don't know. You're 4 years
Right,
old, and,
yeah.
and everybody's there talking about this and how crazy it is. But we're here. We're going to watch it.
Right.
And I watched it go back, and then it didn't go again. And basically, what he had to do was pull it off the lake because the lake was too rough.
Oh, yeah.
And he knew that he was going to end up a dead man if he kept trying.
Yeah. Yeah. The conditions have to be right for sure.
Oh yeah, because they were hitting around 200 miles an hour out there on the water.
Yeah.
And yeah, you don't crash in that.
Nope.
Yeah, it's
No.
all over. So yeah, I'd like to have been a member of his team.
Yeah.
Be on the crew.
But I guess we're going to call this one an episode because we got one more to go.
Sure.
Thanks for listening. I am the kid.
I'm Dan Lee.
We'll catch you next time, which is in just a few minutes.